I used to get very offended and upset whenever people would call me an Uncle Tom. I think I'm in a place now when someone calls me that, like, I kind of pity them because of their ignorance. Trying to communicate that, oh, you're just trying to fit in with white people. You're trying to be accepted among whites. And so I'm going to call you this derogatory word to put you in your place and to remind you, you will never be accepted by whites. You'll always be just a black.
Okay, so I finally watched the documentary that was released like a couple years ago, almost a couple years ago anyway, which is titled Uncle Tom. Now, the title of Uncle Tom is supposed to play on the idea of when black people decide to go outside of the mainstream narrative or the approved narrative of how a black person is supposed to think, act, believe, their values and morals and perspectives are supposed to be, and especially how a black person is supposed to vote. This is a racial slur that's usually thrown at them by black people and mostly white liberals, progressives, who say to sit down, be quiet, white people, and listen to the voices of black people, except if they go against the narrative, if they go against the grain. The Uncle Tom is a racial slur, or was used as a racial slur, along with a lot of other racial slurs that they mentioned in this documentary, like coon, bad wench, chucking and driving, you want to be white, black white supremacist, stuff like that, to keep you in check, right? As a black people, as a black community. Funny how it's said by white progressives to keep black people in check.
There's people who find my Instagram and comment on it just to call me Uncle Tom, House Negro. I never thought that I would be called, such racist and derogatory terms.
Uncle Tom.
Uncle Tom.
Uncle Tom, coon, bedwench.
Bootlicker, chucking and jiving.
House Negro, coon.
Uncle Tom and coon. Matter of fact, I have a coon award over there. Coon of the Year award.
They call us the coons. Coon.
For Indians like me, you're an Uncle Patel.
Uncle Ruckus.
Praise be the white God and his son, White G.
The guy from Get Out, they put his face on my post.
I find that the African-American experience for me has been, for the most part, very good.
I think the funniest thing I've ever been called, the most absurd thing, is a black white supremacist. It's like the old Chappelle skit, Clayton Bigsby. They go, oh,
White power!
It must be real.
People say crazy things. Leftists say the craziest shit to you.
Uncle Tom is actually, if anybody says that, it's really just showing their ignorance, because Uncle Tom was actually portrayed as a good person if you read the book. He wasn't a betrayer. He didn't betray his community. He actually helped his community. But, anybody who's saying that a black person can't go outside the narrative, but also black people should have freedom, is ignorant in itself. So I'm not surprised if they don't actually know the history of Uncle Tom. I saw a lot of reactors, especially black reactors, or just black commenters, social, political commenters, react to the deleted scenes that is on Larry Elder's channel. And I honestly have to say, though, that clip, the deleted scenes video, does the documentary absolutely no justice. No offense, but the deleted scenes clip, the video that's on Larry Elder's channel, honestly looks more like a Donald Trump promotion or political campaign promotion video. It's very like black people love Donald Trump sort of love fest. And there's nothing wrong with black people loving Donald Trump, and there's nothing wrong with black people voting conservative or Republican, of course. However, that's kind of the gist of what I got from the deleted scenes video. And it made me kind of not really want to actually watch the documentary, because I thought that's what the entirety of the documentary was going to be about. Just how great and amazing Donald Trump is and how we need to vote for him. You know what I mean? And I was like, okay, I got it. Great. He's amazing. But I don't need to see a whole documentary about it. And honestly, that video does no justice to the documentary whatsoever. Like What is a Woman by Matt Walsh, I think this Uncle Tom documentary needs to be watched by all. And I know my white people, my Caucasians out there, who might feel like this isn't really for me, this is about black people, why do I don't want to watch this? I implore you to watch this documentary, or at least watch my reaction review to this documentary, because I think everybody needs to watch this, especially if you're a white liberal. I mean, especially if you're black, but especially if you're a white liberal, watch this fucking video. And I implore you to either share my video or to share the documentary with people around you, because the lies that we have been told, the miswriting of history, this documentary pissed me the fuck off. So, I try not to put too much race stuff on my main channel and put it on my other channel. Unfortunately, my other channel, Speak Freely, got rejected for monetization. They say it's because I broke a policy. Hopefully they're telling the truth. It's not, because most of my videos on that channel are very not politically correct. So I will most likely be breaking this documentary up into hopefully 2 pieces, 2 parts, but it might be 3 parts. I'll put 1 on this channel, and then I'll put the other 2 or 1 on my Speak Freely channel. And of course, as usual, I'll put the links down below. All right, now let's actually get into the documentary. So, the documentary Uncle Tom used to be behind a paywall, and they recently released the free full documentary on YouTube, so you can find it on YouTube, and they sort of put a new little intro into it, and they actually sort of highlighted some of the YouTubers I already mentioned, some of the YouTubers and reactors that actually highlighted that I already mentioned, some YouTubers and reactors who already reacted to the deleted scenes Larry Elder video. They put that in the intro of this documentary, which I thought was a really nice touch. I wasn't highlighted because I haven't reacted to it yet, but that's fine. No hard feelings. So they open up with the documentary kind of explaining already what I've already kind of said, explaining why the racial slur Uncle Tom, or the name Uncle Tom that is now turned into a racial slur, is used. They gave a couple of reasons. One of them is because you just hate black people and you kind of disguise yourself as a white progressive, able to use the slur that is somehow acceptable. This is just like culturally acceptable for white people to use the slur against black people. Or is to say that this black person isn't fitting into the idea of what a black person is supposed to be. That a black person is a traitor to the race, that they're a sellout, that they want to be accepted by white people. They're upset at the black individual for seeing themselves as an individual instead of the collective. They are upset at the black individual for not making their skin color and their race their Lord, God, and Savior, the center of their ideology.
And Uncle Tom is somebody who has sold out by embracing the white man, by becoming a Republican, by rejecting the idea that you're a victim, by supporting things like hard work, accountability, and low taxes, by refusing to think of yourself as a black person first as opposed to as an American who is black.
Your skin color should dictate how you think and what you say.
The only way I can operate as a human being is via my skin color. I can't operate via my intelligence or the things I have accomplished. My resume should be I'm black.
And Uncle Tom has traditionally been a black person that tried to serve and scurry favor with white people.
So they believe that I want to be accepted in the white community. Kind of like the house Negro back in slavery. That I'm in the house, master, what can I do for you? And I'm gonna suck up to them and leave my people behind.
And I agree with all of that. But I honestly, when I see Uncle, and I've been called Uncle Tom, I've been called Coon, I've been called Bedwench, I've been called Oreo, I've been called all of those things. I honestly, and I've always thought this, that it says so much more about the person who is throwing out that slur or that allegation, like so much more about that person than it really does me. And it actually makes me really pity that human being. And it actually said that in the documentary, that I pity you because you literally believe that black people are some sort of monolith, that we aren't individuals, that we don't have our individual perspectives, values, morals, perceptions, our own individual lived experience, that you really believe that this idea of category of black person is the only thing a black person can be. And if you truly believe that a black person is only oppressed and only a victim and will always be under the foot of the white man or the society or systemic racism, then you yourself as an individual will not only hold yourself back of that because of that mentality, but you will also hold your community back and you will hold your children back. That's sad.
It starts with the individual. What you do in making yourself a better person will matriculate down to everybody else in the community, all the generations to come after you. The power is in your hands. Don't rely on wait for everybody else to do something. You have the power to change you. You have authority to change you.
I will not pretend to be a victim in this country. I know that that makes many people on the left uncomfortable.
I've seen it with my own eyes, where I watched Common Ground, that YouTube channel, that YouTube videos that come out, that they have people from different sides of the aisle come together, and they were talking about parenting styles, free parenting or strict parenting. And there was a black mother on there that literally said that she can't raise her child to be free-spirited. So you're raising your child in fear. What the fuck? That mentality not only hurts you, but it hurts the people around you. So when I see someone say Uncle Tom, coon, bedwench, that says so much more about you and the cause and the ripple effect that you have in your community than it will ever say about me as a person. They talk about Barack Obama, and they talk about Barack Obama a couple of times throughout the documentary. And I would say one thing, my one criticism about the documentary, it wasn't linear enough. Like, they would bring up a subject and then it would drop it, and then it would bring it up again halfway through at the end of the documentary. So it was kind of harder to take my notes, and it will be harder to edit this video and make it more linear. But yeah, but they bring up Obama a couple of times in the documentary, and they basically say, like, I like the line where they say Barack Obama became our Jesus, because they say, like, okay, well, white people always had the white Jesus, right? And so for the mindset of a white child of what they can do and what they can achieve in life, shit, Jesus was white, I can be fucking God, basically. You know what I mean? Technically, Jesus wasn't white, but you get the point, right? And so the fact that Barack Obama became president, there was a moment of positivity, because black people now have this idol, this example of what you can achieve in America. And I personally didn't vote for Barack Obama, not the first time. I voted for him the second time because I didn't like the other guy that he was running against. But the first time I didn't vote for him because he was too slick for me. He was too sly, he was too slick with his words. I felt like he was just saying what people wanted to hear, and I didn't vote for him. However, I remember his inauguration, and I remember being in my bed watching TV, and I didn't cry, but I was teary-eyed. I recognized the historical significance that Barack Obama was when it came to him becoming president. And the sad part is I thoroughly believe Barack Obama dropped the fucking ball and sold his soul when it come to, he could have been the glue to unity. Because there was a moment when he became president where it's like, wow, America, we've done it. We finally beat racism. We finally beat this division. We've come together as a community, as Americans. We saw past skin color and we voted for the right person. You know, right person, right? And there was a moment where there was this sort of racial unity in America. I actually remember seeing an article right around he became president. I cannot find this article for the life of me. I've looked for it. But it was an article basically saying how America has sort of transcended racism. And the article broke it down to how that became. And it was because of diversity and inclusivity, you know, different races, different cultures, moving into the same neighborhoods, working at the same jobs, going to the same school, having interracial relationships. Because it's harder to hate something, and it's harder to have this sort of blanket, dehumanizing stereotype about someone when you put a face and a name and identity to that person. So the guy who grew up in Timbuktu, who never came in contact with a white person or a Muslim or a gay person, now going to university with all these people, it takes away that hate when you put an identity to it. And so racism was sort of slowly dissolving, and I saw that article right around when Barack Obama became president, and I fucking think he just completely dropped the ball, because he himself didn't believe he lived in a racist America if you look at his early interviews.
in churches, in bars, on the streets, Americans have been celebrating this great landmark in the long struggle for civil rights. In Chicago, the veteran black leader Jesse Jackson broke down in tears. In Atlanta, from the pulpit of Martin Luther King's old church, its pastor declared, "Tonight, we have seized the promise of America."
Not to sound crazy, but, you know, white people always had Jesus. So they always had that mentality, I could be anything, even God. For me, the image of him is like, who's the most powerful person in the world? Who's considered like a god, basically? It's the president of the United States. Obama became that image for us, like that Jesus. We never looked at ourselves as being politicians. We looked at ourselves as rappers or football, basketball players, drug dealers. That's why I think Obama was important in becoming president, because it gave us that optic, like we could be whatever we want to be.
It was America finally feeling that we could let go, just let go and say we finally did it, progress is here. I cried when he won.
The one reason that I thought that his candidacy would be positive, the one reason was because when Senator Obama was interviewed by Steve Kroft, I believe that was his first 60 Minutes interview, and Steve Kroft said to Obama,
"You think the country's ready for a black president?"
Yes.
You don't think it's going to hold you back?
No. I think if I don't win this race, it will be because of other factors. It's going to be because I have not shown to the American people a vision for where the country needs to go that they can embrace.
I said to myself, hallelujah, at least this is not your basic black victocrat. Well, he got elected.
I cried. Tears came to my eyes during his inauguration.
My fellow citizens,
a black man being a president, like, this is finally, we have proven to the world and everybody else in the country that this is not a racist country.
And I think that's what America really felt, that we had turned a corner.
I could follow in the same steps now, finally, that there was no barrier that was preventing me as a black American from doing anything.
Many people had high expectations that he was going to take us in a direction that was going to improve things.
But then all of a sudden, when he became president, he started peddling that same narrative. Racial tensions were not nearly as high until Barack Obama became president of the United fucking States.
Obama, before he became president, gave a speech at a black church in Atlanta. And he said, the Moses generation, referring to the generation of Martin Luther King, has gotten us 90% of the way there, which I thought was pretty reasonable. He said, my generation, the Joshua generation, has to get us that remaining 10%.
The Moses generation pointed the way. They took us 90% of the way there, but we still got that 10%.
That was before Obama became president. I'm suspecting that now that he's president, that 10% probably got shaved into it just a little bit. Yet, when he was president, what did he say? What did he do?
Slavery, Jim Crow, discrimination in almost every institution of our lives. You know, that casts a long shadow, and that's still part of our DNA. That's passed on. We're not cured of it. Racism. We are not cured of it.
Obama got a higher percentage of the white vote than John Kerry did. And here he is talking about racism is in our DNA. If I had a son, he would look like Trayvon.
The Cambridge police
acted stupidly.
What he really did was add to the level of racial tension that we have in America today.
He went out of his way to capitalize on this sort of like wokeness.
There are very few African American men in this country who haven't had the experience of being followed when they were shopping in a department store. That includes me.
He had Al Sharpton in his White House over 70 times.
And every time you criticize President Obama based upon policy, you were called what? A racist.
He played the race card, Obama did. This is a guy who knew better and could have, in my opinion, done a great deal to advance race relations in this country.
We didn't turn any corner. And so now we are just at a point where we're at each other's throats.
You called me a nigger. You called me. Yes, you did.
He made things worse for America in terms of race, and there's not a single person that can say they remember America feeling like this.
Constitution house nigga. I didn't call you a nigger. Oh, okay. That's a big difference. You're Uncle Tom. Oh, that's my Uncle Tom. Yeah.
Before Obama wasn't all this racist talk at all. I don't remember it.
I don't remember at any point before Barack Obama ever feeling this much racial strife in this country.
Obama was the most divisive president of our time.
Especially in the African American community, I will consider it a personal insult, an insult to my legacy, if this community lets down its guard and fails to activate itself.
I believe Obama is one of the most articulate presidents that we've had, charismatic presidents we've had. When you look at his educational background, he's probably one of the most intelligent. He knows better.
I harbor a lot of resentment towards Barack Obama because now I see what he was. But I wouldn't take that moment back for a lot of reasons. And one of those reasons is that it did mean a lot. Now it's something that I point to show people. If America is a racist country, how did Barack Obama get into office for 2 terms?
In barely half a century, you can go from a young African-American girl being escorted into the school by the National Guard to having the first person of color occupy the Oval Office.
That's why all those people were in tears when Obama was elected president. Look at what we are. Look at how this is America.
If there is anyone out there who still doubts that America is a place where all things are possible, who still wonders if the dream of our founders is alive in our time, who still questions the power of our democracy, tonight is your answer. It's the answer told by lines that stretched around schools and churches in numbers this nation has never seen.
We became the most racist country on the planet, even though we voted for black men twice. And I truly believe it's because the ones who control us, the puppeteers, could not have us in unity. It is much harder to control a society when it's unified than it is when it's divided.
A racist rant.
An alleged racist incident.
Racial bias. Racist tendencies.
Racism.
Racism from coast to coast.
The open racism. Statements of racism. He was brutally beaten by attackers yelling racist and homophobic slurs.
A racist drifter.
Is it racism? Is it sexism?
How do we get white people to see racism as their problem too?
That was racist.
Racist.
Go back to Africa, kind of racism.
Straight up racist.
Racist tweets. Racist tweets.
Those tweets are racist. A racial dog whistle.
But the saying that Barack Obama became the black community's Jesus also made me feel like that saying how government becomes our God. You know, religion, faith, God, spirituality kind of have been killed in the West, in America. And because I believe majority of human beings have an innate desire to believe in a higher power, to have a bigger cause than them. Because you killed God, then religion just became our God, right? And he even talked about, and this is coming up, but I'll bring it up now. They even talked about how when Kennedy, this is kind of when the shift happened, because black people started off as Republicans, right? Because Abraham Lincoln was a Republican, and he was one of the ones who signed to help free the slaves, right? And so black people were Republicans up until Kennedy became president. And it was when Martin Luther King was imprisoned, and they basically asked Kennedy, and I forgot the other Republican, to call Martin Luther King's wife. And Kennedy called Martin Luther King's wife. And that became... That just spread like wildfire. That just became viral, and all of a sudden black people not only had the picture of white Jesus in their house, Martin Luther King, but also Kennedy. Why the fuck are we worshiping men? Why are we worshiping politicians? Even Martin Luther King, he is a man. He is not a fucking god. But that just made me remind me of that.
By the way, most blacks were Republican until the New Deal. Most blacks were Republican to the extent that they could vote before the New Deal. And then when the New Deal came, a number of blacks switched over to the New Deal. That switch has continued.
Shift came with the presidential election between Richard Nixon and John F. Kennedy. Martin Luther King Jr. had been in prison, and both sides asked their respective presidential candidate to give a courtesy call to Coretta Scott King and offer their condolences and their support and what have you. The rumor got out that John F. Kennedy did. So the next thing you know, in every house down south, and I can say this from my own eyeballs, there were 3 pictures that hung in the living room of any black home down south. It was Jesus Christ, Martin Luther King Jr., and John F. Kennedy.
They had a lot of different black commenters, a lot of different black political influencers like Brandon Tatum and Candace Owens, Larry Elder, and a lot of other black sort of leaders like Thomas Sowell, Dr. Ben Carson, and I'll go through the list in here. There's much, much more. But I like when Brandon Tatum talked about his sort of conversion to being a conservative or Republican, because he wasn't always like that, which I always thought he was always like that, but he grew up very Democrat, very liberal, very hip-hop, street culture, stuff like that, and he recognized how that was really becoming harmful to his development as an adult and his opportunities to succeed. And he said that he didn't just stop watching CNN and became like an avid viewer of Fox News, that he was a critical thinker. And he thought for himself and he did his own fucking research. And I like that he said that.
I grew up primarily around black people, primarily in what we call the Afrocentric perspective. That means everything in life was seen from the lens of being black in America. I kind of had this whole hip hop culture, negative, angry mentality. I grew up believing that white people did not like black people, and that no matter what you did in life, the white man is gonna hold you down.
I have learned to go beyond just listening to what CNN says, or even Fox News. I go on Fox News all the time, but I decide to go beyond what they are saying and what they're selling, and I'm able to listen and do the research on my own so I know who I believe in, who am I voting for, and why.
All right, I'm gonna stop it here because we are about to go deep dive into the history of Jim Crow and slavery and how that all came to pass, and how this lie that the Democrats switched sides. Like, we are about to go into like rewriting history 101, and I want to like do a whole video just based on that and not draw this video out any longer. So please go to the comment section, hit the link, and watch the rest of the video, watch the rest of this review reaction. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell to get the notifications when I do upload. That really does help with the algorithm, guys. And if you'd like to support the channel even further, you can donate. My PayPal and Cash App link is in the description box below, sometimes in the comment section. Of course it helps, but you don't have to. You can just like, comment, and subscribe. Another great way to support this channel is either join my brand new membership program, different levels, different tiers, different perks, or you can visit my brand new merch shop, links down below, and links to all of my alternative platforms, my socials, including my Twitter. All the ways to support me and all the ways to contact me for business is always in the links down below. And if you like, you can super thanks. We also have my second channel, Speak Freely, again, links down below, and you guys have an amazing day. Bye.